in case of landed cost computation, this is most important aspect in case of your logistics management. You know, last year the Nimbus logistics will appear in case of your placement. In that case, they will ask about how to calculate the different expenses in case of logistics. In case of logistics, the landed cost is very much important. Before starting this particular topic, first you have to know about the definition of landed cost. In case of landed cost, it's essential to calculate your company bottom lines by representing the total cost of product on its journey from the factory floor to the buyer's stores. It should be started from the factory floor to the buyer's stores. Whatever the cost is included, especially represented in case of the cost of total product. The next part is it includes price of goods, shipment cost, insurance fees, custom duties, and any other charges incurring along the way. So basically, the landed cost is includes uh, the total cost of product, uh, starting from the manufacturing to the buyer's goods, and whatever the cost basically include the price of goods, the shipment cost, the insurance fee, the custom duties, and then any other charges. So what is the custom duty for export import? What is the percent of custom duties in case of Government of India?
100%.
That is 110%. It is not 100%, but during this budget session, the government will hike this percentage 110 to 120% in case of custom duties. Moving to next part, while the landed cost is necessary, if you see there are some hidden costs directly or indirectly associated with the product. But knowing the landed cost can bring clarity, allowing you to assess how your business is performing and maximize the pricings, ensure that you know exactly how much you paying for the inventory. That's most important part. Suppose you take the example of a transportation agency. In that case, if you calculate the landed cost, so suppose that transportation companies belong to a third party agency or agent. In that case, they will directly calculate the fuel expenses, the maintenance expenses, the wages of driver also included, the co-pilot's wages also included, the you can say that is the custom charges, the GST, the CGSTs, and the toll gate charges are also included. They can directly affect whenever you go for pricings or in case of paying for whatever you going to transport from manufacturing organization to the customer goods. That is most important. The next part is it provides opportunity to analyze your supply chain and determine the different costing costs. So as you know, this directly analyze your supply chain starting from the product, the facilities, the carrier, as well as the route also. And it also determines the different optimization of cost in case of those costs which are hidden or which are directly or indirectly affect your product transportation. Moving to next part, point number three, by calculating the landed costs can be difficult if you do not yet to know your full expenses or lack the experience to anticipate how high the additional fees that often come up in case of shippings. So that is why if you calculate the uh, landed costs, in that case, the most important thing is you must observe uh, things in case of mathematical formula that should be the equation that will be calculating the landed cost equals to shipping cost, the custom duty cost, takes in case of insurance, and overhead cost. I repeat, landed cost equals to the shipping cost, custom duty cost, takes in case of insurance cost, and the last one is overhead cost. So here is a typical example. So in case of, we will discuss one by one. In case of shippings, there is more to shipping than the boxing your goods and putting them into a boat like plane, truck, and train, etc. There are costs associated with every aspect of process, including tracking, packaging, then handling, and the flight. So these are directly included in case of shipping costs. Whenever you choose airways or railways or in case of roadways, especially reference to plane, truck, and train, in that case, those are the costs which is associated with every aspect of process. Whatever it should include in case of packaging or loading and unloading or in case of flight. The next part is custom. So every country has its own authority for monitoring the flow of goods into and out its products. These agencies are also responsible for collecting any duties, that is traffic duties and value-added tax, broker fees, and harbor fees also. So, in case of, if you take the example of Paradip port, in that case, most of the those who are most of the cases, those cargo ships came from abroad. The harbor fees is applicable, and that fees is directly fixed by the government of India authorities as well as the state government also. And they are also provide a huge amount of traffic duties, value-added tax, and brokers fees, depending upon the type of product. For example, in case of copper exporting, in case of South Asian country, there is no considered the custom duty charges. Is nowadays government of India is eliminated from this particular part, especially reference to South Asia countries. But in case of automotive parts and component, the government of India is putting huge amount of custom duty charges that should be passed. That should be ranged from around 120% to 220% in case of luxurious car or in case of any multinational SUV models. Then moving to the next part, risks. In case of risks, the cost of avoiding risks can be added off in case of your landed cost, but not covering them can uh, not covering them can be even more costly. For example, in case of insurance, for example, in case of compliance, for example, in case of quality, for example, in case of safety stock inventory, all are vital considerations. So, as you know, in the case of Gunai, uh, uh, that is most dangerous explosive and explosives happen in case of Pune because they are not taking or they are just avoiding the risks in case of ammonium nitrate. So due to this unavoidable risks, especially reference to safety stocks, especially reference to quality, especially reference to compliance, and especially reference to your insurance, these are very much vital consideration as far as concerned with your landed. Moving to next part, the last one is overall costs. The operating costs that are final part of blended cost equations. For example, purchasing staff, due diligence costs, travel and exchange rate are included in case of overheads. In that case, most of the cases, the currency exchange rate is play vital role in case of blended cost calculation. For example, most of the furnitures or in case of household goods that should be being from the country like Bangkok, Thailand, even if uh, some part of your uh, South Asia's countries. In that case, the custom duty, the custom charges, in case of the travel expenses, the purchasing stuff, uh, especially reference to your operating cost, these are directly included in case of your landed cost, especially reference to your overhead. Moving to next part, so here is the typical numericals. Uh, Consider that you are looking to import 100 units of product from Bhubaneswar to Sambalpur. The per unit cost is 50 rupees. The freight cost of shipment is 1000 rupees. And it represents one quarter of shipment. The duty charge is set at 5%. I repeat the example. Consider that you are looking to import 100 units of a product from Bhubaneswar to Sambalpur. The per unit cost is 50 rupees. The freight cost of shipment is 1000 rupees and it represents one quarter of shipment. The duty charge is 5%. That should be set. Which way you calculate? So here we have to calculate first one is per unit cost plus freight cost plus duty charges that equals to landed cost per unit. I repeat, per unit cost plus freight cost plus duty charges that equals to landed cost per unit. So here the per cost unit is given 50 rupees and freight cost is 1000 into 25% because it already given one quarter of the shipments plus 5% of duty charges and 5% into 50 rupees. 50 rupees represent per unit cost and that equals to 55 rupees per unit. And let's say your goods are held at custom for 3 days and you are changed 100 rupees for each day. In this regard, if you calculate the landed cost that equals to per unit cost plus freight cost plus duty charges plus additional charges. In case of additional charges, you have to add 100 rupees into 3 number of days that should be included. That equals to 50 rupees per unit. So these unforeseen costs added in case of additional 3 rupees to your landed cost per unit. With this information in mind, you may choose to adjust your pricing models. Is it clear to all? Yes or no?
Sir, can you repeat?
Okay. So I just repeat. In case of just note down, if you have your notebook, just note down. Suppose you have to shift 100 product from Bhubaneswar to Sambalpur. The cost of each product is 50 rupees. That is your per unit cost is equal to 50 rupees. And the freight cost for shipment is 1000 rupees. And it represents 1/4 of shipment. And the duty charge is set 5%. So in case of landed costs, I write per unit cost that is 50 rupees, freight cost that is 1000. But the thing is that it represents 1/4. 1/4 means 1 by 25. Percent is multiplied divided by 100. That is the freight cost. And duty charges is given in the question that is 5%. And that 5% is applicable to the cost of product. That is that 5% multiplied with 50 rupees. In this regard, you have already calculated the landed cost per unit equals to 55 rupees. Suppose for example, you have to hold for 3 extra days. In that case, if you calculate the landed cost per unit, that means per unit cost is the 50 rupees. Again, the freight cost is 1000 into 25. Why 25? Because in case of this shipment, 1/4 of shipment is fixed. That is 125. 1 by 25 divided by 100. And 5% represent your duty charges. That multiply with 50 rupees. 50 rupees represent per cost units. And the additional charges for each day is 100 rupees. And additional days are 3 days. That 100 rupees into 3 divided by 100. That equals to 55. In this regard, if you calculate previous one, we got the landed cost is 55, but after 3 days, we got 55. That means 3 rupees is added to your landed cost for me. This information in mind, you must choose to adjust your pricing model. Is it clear?
Yes, sir.
Better you note down. These are very much crucial in case of personal round interviews, especially reference to e-commerce side. Special reference to BPUT placement, special reference to Swiggy, special reference to Inbox Logistics, special reference to Gati Cargos. Here, the landed cost is very much important. Is it clear? Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Shall I move to the next one? Try to solve this one. Suppose the shipment of 100 units of particular product arrive. The supplier cost is rupees 50 per unit. Duty charges applicable at 4%. The freight cost of entire shipment is 200 rupees. The specific product represents 1/4 of shipment, that is 1/4 of total shipment. Calculate the landed cost. I repeat, here you have to ship 100 number of units. The supplier cost is given, that is 20 rupees per unit. The duty charges applicable, that is 4%. And cost of flight for entire shipment is given 200 rupees. And most important thing, the specific product represents 1/4 of the shipment, that is 1/4 of the total shipment. Calculate the landed cost. I will ask one by one. Try to solve.
Set a formula tab previous slide with
Okay. So supply cost is given how much? 20 rupees. And duty charge is given 4%. The next part is here. The freight cost for entire shipment was given rupees 200. I advise all of you just note it down. The per unit cost that is given 20 rupees. In case of freight cost, that is 200 into one fourth of quarter or 1/4% of shipment is given, that is 25% divided by 100 plus the duty charges is 4% into 20 rupees. Just calculate how much. Get the answer. I repeat, the per unit cost of shipment that is given 20 rupees plus 200, that is freight cost is given 200 into one fourth, that is 25% divided by 100 plus 4% of duty charge is given 4% into the per unit cost of shipment, that is 20 rupees. How much? Sangram, what is your answer?
Corini Coruch.
Better I'll show the legend here. Just concentrate on the slide. The total landed cost equals to supplier cost. Supplier cost is given 20 rupees plus duty charges. The duty charges is given 4% into 20 rupees. That is the supply cost or per unit cost plus the shipment charges specific to the product or total unit. In that case, the shipment charges is 200 into one fourth is given in the question, that is 25%, and total unit is 100. That is 20 plus 0.8 plus 0.5, that equals to 21.3 rupees per unit. That is the landed cost. Is it clear to all? Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Okay, moving to next part. I'll give you another example. Try to solve this one. Same question, I will change the unit of particular product arrive, and this one is 25, and this is 5%. Calculate the landed cost. This is example 3. In previous example, the shipment is given 100 units for a particular product. The supplier cost is given 25%. The duty charges applicable, that is 5%. And the freight cost for entire shipment is, was 200 number of, and specific product represent one quarter of shipment. That is one fourth of total shipments. Calculate the landed cost. what is the supplier cost here? Hello, Sangram, what is the supplier cost?
Sir, 25.
Supplier cost is 25 here. I just change here 25. And custom duty or duty charges is given 5%. That is multiplied with cost per unit, that is 25. Okay. And total, or that is known as entire shipment, was given 200 into one fourth of total shipment, that is 25%. And number of unit or total unit of shipment arrived 200. Calculate. What is the answer? So directly tell me the answer. Yes.
Sir, 26.5.
26.5. That is your landed cost. Now it is clear to all.
Yes, sir, clear.
Okay. Moving to next part. The next topic is known as vendor ratings. So what do you mean by vendor? Anyone? What is the definition of vendor? Yes, anyone? What is the definition of vendor? Sangram.
सर भेंडर एक्चुअली तो सही जे माने गुड्स और रॉ मटेरियल बोथ प्रोवाइड करे सर बट मैं डिफरेंस जानी नहीं भेंडर और होलसेलर रिटेलर रा
Both a vendor, wholesaler, retailer, or even if suppliers, these four nodes are known as intermediate in between your manufacturer as well as in between manufacturer and customers. Okay. The vendor, in most cases, they are the suppliers who act as a wholesaler or super stockist or carry forward agents. Okay. These are the different designations. The thing is that they are
सर
play agents.
रिटेलर और होलसेलर दी जण जाक भेंडर अंडर रे ही आसीबे
Exactly. So most of the cases, if you see the integrations, distribution integration or distribution network, in that case, few companies are eliminating vendor or supplier or retail part directly contact with your customers. So here we are discussing about the intermediate, which is designated as a vendors. In most cases, vendor play as an intermediate in between manufacturer and your customers. Moving to next part, same thing happen in case of wholesaler or same thing happen in case of your distributors. Okay, so the definition is changed. The vendor is basically a person or a company. I repeat, the vendor is a person or a company that sells goods to someone else in the economic production chains. So here, economic production chains means flow of demand, flow of monies, and flow of information should be placed in case of economic production chains. The repeat vendor is a person or a company that sells goods and services to someone else. In someone case, you can consider the customers. But the thing is that in case of vendor, they should directly focus on economic production chains, starting from the manufacturer to different intermediate, and finally it should be reached to the customers. So basically, vendor and supplier equal terms. They are given standing, status, or title according to the attainment of some level of performance. As I told in case of distribution networks, some company are just designated as suppliers, some company are designated as a vendors. But the thing is that the level of performance, such as delivery, lead time compression, quality, and price, and some combination of variables must be considered in case of vendors or you can say in case of suppliers. So why the thing is that why vendor rating is most important. The objective of this particular vendor rating is to help the buyer in case of future selection. So most of the company are SIs, carry and forward agents, or in case of suppliers, they will directly focus in case of future selections. Moving to next part, to provide buyer with information helpful in case of subsequent negotiations. So most of the cases, the vendor or supplier will provide helpful information during contract negotiations from company side as well as from the customer side also. So in case of company side, they will play a vital role. They will arrange a huge amount of incentives and huge amount of discount also. But in case of customer side, they will directly provide the information in the form of huge amount of discounts. If you take the example of Astral pipe versus Supreme pipe, in case of plumbing industries, in case of polymer industries, in case of vendor point of view, especially reference to manufacturers, in case of Astrals, there is no incentive, no amount of discount is given because they have directly focused toward agri industry. But in case of Supreme, those who are focused towards domestic as well as from commercial uh, buildings, in that case, they are focused on behalf of customers towards uh, arrange or consider it is they will provide huge amount of discount as far as concerned Supreme plumbing or Supreme pipe industry or Supreme plumbing industry. Moving to next part, to provide the buyer with important information which can act upon any corrective measures. In most cases, the vendor provide most important information regarding source, regarding raw material, regarding quality of raw material, regarding pricing strategy during contract negotiation. That will be, if you found any kind of incorrectness, that will be provide a corrective measures as far as concerned with manufacturing point of view or manufacturer point of view. Moving to next part, how vendors are rated. The vendor are rated on the basis of various characteristics. The first one is time delivery. The second one is qualities. The third one is price, and the fourth one is other actors such as supplying useful market information, meet emergency orders. In that regard, you can easily evaluate how the vendor should be given the rating. The first one is time delivery. As far as concerned with time delivery, it directly depends upon one important factor that is known as lead time. So most of the vendor is customize the lead time to faster delivery, and you can say that is smooth delivery operations as far as concerned with product and services. The next important part, as you know, the vendor will provide helpful information regarding qualities. So as far as concerned with quality, quality is basically a bunch of satisfactions which is directly offered from manufacturer to customers. So as far as concerned with your distribution strategy, most of the qualities should be concerned as far uh, concerned with the product. The next is price. You know, these vendors are also providing helpful information about pricing strategy of various companies. So how pricing strategy, for example, if particular customers order a huge volume of, in that case, you will provide a huge amount of discount. But that depends upon company to company and company rules and also company pricing strategy. And the last, in case of other actors, such as supplying useful market information. So vendor are also accessing useful market information regarding sustainability, regarding success in the markets. And they also provide meet emergency orders. So you know, customer order is always fluctuate. Whenever order is increased, in that case, the vendor will manage, or you consider it, they will manage the different intermediate in a such a way that they can fulfill the demand, starting from the manufacturer to the intermediate, finally should be reached to the customer. So that is why how the vendor are rated. I repeat, in case of time delivery, next one is qualities, the third one is price and other factors. Moving to next slide. So these are the different vendor rating methods. First one is categorical plans, weighted point plans, cost ratio plans. So in case of categorical plans, discuss that particular part. In case of categorical plans, it is very subjective methods. Manager from concerned department prepare the list of factors and factors that input and from their views. Then each major supplier is evaluated against the evaluated list of factors. Evaluation is done in terms of good, satisfactory, and poor. But in case of most of the companies nowadays implementing this method, so through a particular format, in that particular format, all the information are related to your vendor that should be mentioned. Whether it should be good, whether it should be satisfactory, and whether this performance is poor. That should be rated by a different level, different department and different sub-department levels. Moving to next one, the weighted point plans. In that case, the buyer decision on factor important from evaluations and weightage for each factor. The third point is vendor performance is respect of each factor. Suppose in case of categorical plans, we have given in case of quality as a factors, in case of timely delivery as a factors, in case of price as a factors. In that, in three regards, the quality has the highest weighted. In that case, the vendor performance will be in respect of each factor. You have to first focus on the weighted part. And from the quality to the next is timely deliver, the next is prices that is should be evaluated as per the weighted point plan. That is the concept. Moving to next part, that is cost ratio plan. So under this method, the vendor ratings is done on the basis of various costs incurred for procuring material from various suppliers. It directly indicates the various costs directly involved in case of purchase of material from various suppliers. Point number two, the cost ratio are ascertained for the different rating variables such as quality, price, time delivery, etc. And the third point, the cost ratio is calculated in the percentage of basis of total individual cost and total value of purchase. Here is a typical example. For example, the total delivery cost is 5,000. The total purchase are 1 lakh. And then the delivery cost ratio will be 5,000 divided by 1 lakh into 100. That is 10%. That is the cost ratio plus. Is it clear to all? Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Okay, moving to next part. So these are the basic advantages or considered the benefit of vendor rating. The first is minimize the subjective in case of judgment because most of the vendor are providing valuable information. But it is the duty of the manufacturing side, they will judge the minimum subjective in case of judgment. The next one is the vendor ratings provide feedbacks from all area in case of one package. The third point, it also
I'm
facilitating
seeing the
the
camera is having the functionality of.
which one? My camera. No,
Yes, sir.
camera is not visible.
No, sir. No.
The problem in case of this particular laptop. This is a very old model laptop. Yeah. Sometimes it's appears, sometimes it's did not appear.
Okay, sir.
Oh. The next point is facilitating better communications with vendors. The next point, providing overall control of vendor base. The next point, requiring specific action to correct identified performance and weaknesses. The next benefit is establishing continuous review standard for vendors. That is where a company like Tata, Birla, even in case of your Adani Group has implemented VDS standard that is known as standard operating procedure for vendors rating. In that rating, they will evaluate each and every vendors. The next is building vendor partnerships, especially with supplier having strategic links. As you know, most of the vendors are very much strong in different geographical locations. That is why building vendor partnership will be beneficial for companies. The next part is developing performance-based cultures. So these are the basic advantage or as you say, benefit of vendor ratings. Moving to next one, the demerits of vendor ratings. The first one is inexperience with product and service. The next is unfamiliar with corporate operations. And the next one is resistance within the companies. And they also provide a threat to securities. These are the different demerits of vendor ratings. Moving to next part, the most important thing that is known as contract negotiations. So why contract negotiation is needed? Anyone? You have already gone through in case of business law as well as in case of marketing management. Why contract negotiation is needed? Or what are the basic need of contract negotiations? Why companies go for contract negotiation? Anyone?
So to minimize the cost and to avail the product at a best price.
Okay, first one is minimize cost. Any other point? Karan, Shubham Karan, why contract negotiation is needed for a company?
Yes, sir.
Commissioner Sahu, what is the need of contract negotiation? The most important factor in case of contract negotiation is reduce or that is known as minimization of price. So if you see the
Yes, sir.
definition, yes, exactly. In case of definition, contract negotiation are the process that involve discussing and compromising a contract term in order to reach the final agreement between two or more parties involved in case of transaction. So there should be no transaction, there should be service transactions. Most of the cases, they will agree or they will compromise in a final agreement. The next important part is in case of contract and negotiation, each party tries to negotiate for best interest of themselves for their business. The next one is contract that negotiable can include real estate lease, manufacturing warranties, employment contract, business deal, and financial contract. These are the typical examples as far as concerned with the contract negotiation. And the next last one, the contract negotiation aspect of transaction is very important because once the contract is final, all parties are legally bound to term of contract terms and cannot overlook these terms without being liable. So these are the things which include in case of contract negotiations. But if you see the why this particular what is the best approach to contract negotiation, first you have to identify the objective for entering the contract. Second one is research contract law. The third one is prepare negotiations. In case of identification of these particular things, starting from identify the objectives. Suppose you are go for contract negotiation of a particular machine, and that machine is provided by the government of India in case of lease. For example, in case of stone crusher lease, in that case, government is allow for 15 years. In that case, you have to first see the objective of your contract before entering. In this case, every party to contract must specific idea what they want to gain from the transactions. As far as concerned with this stone crusher idea, in that case, both parties, starting from the government is maximize its royalties, and as far as concerned with the second party, they will maximize profit. So, stone crushing business. This identification of objectives in case of profit maximization or in case of royalty maximizations. So these are the basic objectives before entering into the contract. The next is before attending a negotiation, a contract make a loss of lots of things, and you will compromise a list of terms that will be not negotiation or give up. In case of contract, a particular write-up should be made from both parties, and if both parties are agree in a compromise mode, in that case, the final negotiations will be write-up, and that will be authorizedly signed by both parties. The next one is research contract laws. The contract are legally binding agreements which are regulated by the courts. Before attending a negotiation, a deal, search online and get expert advice to determine whether the term and contract you are trying to form is legally allowed. And the next one is prepare negotiations. In case of gather all facts, figures, and financial statements and document for negotiation process. In case you need to show proof of anything that you need to back up your negotiation point. So in this case, if you take the beverage industry, especially reference to United Brewery, in case of your PepsiCo, even in case of your Hindustan Beverage Limited, so these companies are directly make a contract negotiation with this multinational brand. For example, in case of PepsiCo, the Jaipuria or Varun Beverages sign a contract negotiation between PepsiCo versus your Varun Beverage. In that regard, the Varun Beverage is providing or packaging all beverage of PepsiCo inside the India. That is, it is legally bound, or you can say it is legally binding agreement, and which are regulated by the court as far as concerned with this contract negotiations. But if you go for other factors, for example, whether the foreign beverage is failed to produce, failed to maximize revenue, in that case, the multinational company like PepsiCo is directly taken some legal action on behalf of companies. So these are the things which is considered in case of whenever you enter inside a contract. Before entering, you must go for research on contract laws. And the last one is prepare the negotiation with all proof of your documentations, financial statements, then fact and figures. Moving to next part, what is the best approach to contract negotiation? First one is prepare a backup plan, list your priorities, set a goals, know the difference between what you need and what you want. These are the best approaches towards your contract negotiations. In case of prepare backup plan, create a plan for possibilities that the contract failed to form and that both sides cannot agree on terms of negotiations. So as you know, in case of government lease, it is difficult to you can say that is negotiate the government agency or the government personnel. In that case, you have to prepare a backup plan how to negotiate in this regard. The next is list your priorities. It is important to know the difference between what you need out from the transaction and what you want. The third point, set a goals, know your bottom line so you can determine when to accept the deal and when to walk out. And the last one is know the difference between what you need and what you want. So review your priority, ask yourself in case of terms. Most of the company are go for reviews. They can ask different department and sub departments regarding the contract negotiation, whether the contract negotiation is beneficial for the company or beneficial for future expansion. That is most important part. The next one is the next class will discuss regarding how to go for best contract negotiation with some case studies. Here, that's all from my side. If you have any doubt, you can ask.